Happy Monday, everybody. I hope that you had a great weekend. You are joining us for Mastermind Monday. We are live every Monday from 9 to 9:30 if you're not watching this live. But if you are, we want to welcome you out and say good morning.
Good morning.
We've got a pretty cool podcast today for you guys, or mastermind today, filled with a lot of good, juicy information. And
Juicy.
I'm really excited about it. So welcome out. Also, before we jump too far into it, this mastermind is for you. So if you've got any questions, anything going on with your business today, or that you've got coming up that you need help with, anything from operations to sales to culture to leadership to hiring to firing, whatever it might be, throw it into the comments and we'll answer for you.
We will be interrupting all throughout here, reading the comments. We'll get to them as fast as we can. So if like we're already on a tangent, seems like we're rolling pretty good, maybe just give us a minute. It's not because we didn't see it, but it's because we want to stay on the same train of thought. So please make sure to throw them in there, and I will absolutely read off any questions that you guys have.
Yeah, and we kind of have a script today where we're going to be talking about networking inside your market, and then also the power and the pros and cons of having a mentor, and how to maybe identify and to ask and find someone to coach you and to mentor you in growing your own business. But our goal is not to talk about what we want to talk about. We would love to hear what you would like solved, what problem you're facing inside. But before we get into problems, got a quick question. What is your win from the weekend? So weekend wins. I'm going to find out something that took place big in your life this past weekend.
I'll kick us off. We went over to my father-in-law's house this past weekend, swam, and just got to hang out with the family, and I had nieces there, and it was just a fun time. It was just a good, like, if you could have taken a mental picture, like, this is what life's about, just being with family and create memories. So that was my win.
It wasn't working?
Nope.
Doing a big job? Gotcha.
For me, my wife is 20 some odd weeks pregnant, 23, 24, something like that. Dude, my wife is tough, man. I'm just going to tell you. So we're pulling off. We've got this front little deck on our house that's clunky. It looks horrible. So we're pulling it off this week, and we started that project. It's kind of a big project. Dude, she's out there for an hour and a half, bent over, pulling boards off, and she wanted to and loved it. And we had a blast out there. Ellie, our daughter, was asleep. And so we had, like, honestly, weirdly, some quality time pulling this deck apart. And I told her, I said, honey, you impress me. You are tougher than I am. I mean, she's got, she's bent over. Can't even reach.
While she's pregnant?
Yeah, dude, she's 20 some odd weeks. She wanted to do it. She was like, I'm having so much fun. So that would be the start of the project. My house is like Sanford and Sons, man, like stuff everywhere. Now there's a bunch of wood over there and it's half pulled down. I just knew that would happen too. I knew we'd get halfway through it and I wouldn't finish till next weekend, but we got pretty far.
Hey, and if you have a win from this weekend, please add it inside the chat. We'd love to hear what your win was this past weekend. For me, we have a new cross-country track coach at the local high school where I help out. And he is just absolutely a beast. And so just learning from somebody that is a phenomenal coach inside of an arena is beautiful just to watch. And it kind of sets up what we're talking about today.
That's inspiring.
Yeah. Just, someone that has done it and is teaching others how to do what they've done. This guy won the Nashville Marathon 6 times in a row, called Mr. Nashville. And to watch him with his students and to understand how all the different components of the body and the running and the striking and form and what systems to work on, what days and rest, it is a beautiful thing to watch. And so what we're talking about today is directly connected to that. It's the power of having a mentor inside your life to help you grow your own business. And what life would look like without it and what life would look like with it is actually a beautiful thing. So let me ask you a question, Brady. Did you play any sports growing up?
I did. Yeah. I played baseball for 8 years, I think, soccer for 4, football for a couple of weeks. And then I got my hand stepped on and cried and I didn't like it. So I quit. My dad, that's probably like one of those most least proud moments of his entire existence, is letting me quit that. But yeah, I did. I played a few different sports.
Yeah. And were any of your coaches like phenomenal coaches, or were any of them like phenomenally bad?
You know what? No, neither. I don't have a coach story. I wish I did, but if I was going to tell one, it'd be like almost made up. I had very neutral city coaches.
Mm.
So no one that like really poured in. But I also feel like when you play at school, you get a different coach, because they're used to being around students and investing in them and whatnot. So I played in city leagues, and if anything, my dad was the best coach I ever had. And I did have one coaching story where I tried out for the basketball team and did not make the list. And my coach said, it's because you're not good at basketball. And so I was like, well, that's very honest. I think if anything, that would be the story.
Did you ever like end up excelling incredibly good at any of those sports?
Baseball, maybe. But even then I only played till I was 12 or 13. But I mean, I started like in T-ball almost.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, we're going to ask Josiah here in a second, but starting your own pressure washing company, there's times where your fingers do get stepped on. And the difference of whether or not you're going to succeed or fail might have to do with the people that are surrounded around you. And if you had a coach that ended up relating to you, picking you up and telling you what you needed to hear at that time, he could have persuaded you to become something great. But instead, just kind of the absence of having somebody that had experience, had knowledge, could empathize with you, it made you quit. And so same thing inside your pressure washing company. There are times inside of your day that you wish you could sell the business or not be in business or work for somebody else. And during that time, a powerful mentor can end up coming into your life and helping you understand that you're a whole person, to look at your emotions, your physical, your relationships, your spiritual side, and see how all of these things are affecting what's taking place in the day. It might be a little bit too deep, but ultimately,
I think that's totally accurate.
Yeah. And so having somebody in your life that can help you. Josiah, any sports growing up?
Yeah, just a lot of different sports, but mainly just tennis. And it's the only one that I was actually on a team and played tennis at.
Were you pretty decent, pretty bad? Did you have a good coach?
I don't think I was the greatest. I definitely was one of the players that really had to practice to like be okay, but I had two coaches, and one of them stands out specifically because he was his name was Coach Danny. Coach Danny, if you're watching, you're probably not, but
I
made it. I'm an ops guy.
I mean, if you're watching, man, then that would be pretty cool. But he was so genuine, man. Like I could tell that he really cared for me and wanted me to be the best that I possibly could. And so it was so easy to take on like any kind of critiques. Like I was just craving him to give me some kind of feedback. And so I felt like he was a really good coach inside of just loving me.
Yeah, so good. Makes me want to drop a little nugget inside of our YouTube video podcast.
Drop it.
Who you showing up for? Is it for you or is it for the people that are around you? And my encouragement would be show up for the day, not for you, but for others. And when you show up for others, you're going to make a difference in the lives of those that you serve, that you work with. If you want to grow into multiple trucks and have a big team, you can't show up for you. You got to show up for others. And a great coach is there for you. They love you with everything they got, and you feel it. Even if they say hard things, what they have to say is okay because you trust they've been there, they've done that.
Yeah, and I kind of think he's saying I welcomed those things too because he had a sense of trust in him because he knew he was showing up for him too. Like I think that's super cool. It also opens up an opportunity for you to not have so much pressure on your back carrying the whole team when you look at it as a team.
I had the other coach that I had. Man, I would miss a shot that he was trying to teach me on. He'd be like, no, what are you doing?
I know that coach. He lives
that guy.
I'm going to say, he's probably watching.
You actually know?
It's an older dude.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Is he in Greenbrier?
Yeah. He'll make kids cry. But I think his intentions are good, but he's not like.
My daughter quit after one lesson with that coach. And it wasn't that he was not excellent.
He knows how to play tennis.
He did not know how to communicate in a way for my daughter, who was like sixth grader at the time, to want to come back the next day. And
you have to win the person you're coaching before the person you're coaching can win.
That's good. Win the relationship.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started with any questions that you guys may have, and let's get fired away. Who wants to ask the first question?
Yeah, let's. I'll go ahead and ask the first question just to kind of kick us off here. Since we're talking about coaching and mentorship, why is it important to have one when you're starting a pressure washing business? Like why, like, yes, sports, but why business? Why is that? How does that relate?
How does it relate?
Yeah. What do y'all think as far as like, if you had to answer that question, let's start like, nothing about pressure washing. Nothing about washing a house or what chemicals do or what type of equipment to buy or how to manage your ad spend or marketing or sales or develop personal leadership or cash flow. Maybe sending too many people out in a truck and you're paying them hourly, but they only have one job on the day and it's a 350 square foot job. And like, you're going to lose money when they come back. Like,
or maybe not, but that's a really specific situation.
Yeah. But having a mentor and a coach would be like, hey, how do we fix this system? How do we look at it? How do we make sure that this thing doesn't end up rocking the boat, but helping us? And so first of all, knowledge and experience. If you have a mentor or a coach inside of your pressure washing company, you have someone that has the knowledge of something you don't know and the experience of going through problems you've never gone through. And one of the quotes that we use here is $1 million companies have
$1 million problems.
Cha-ching!
Hey, it's like lawyers, it's like things dying. It's soap is lava. It's not good all the time. And
it's not just parts breaking. It's like big.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about one mistake that we've made on a job. Do you know what I'm Josiah, I'm thinking right now about a job of some gutters that were galvanized. I believe they were galvanized. And we ended up cleaning them, and I think it might have been you and Maggie. And do you remember what happened to those gutters?
Yeah, they got ruined.
Yeah, and
they were galvanized. They're also called galuminum. If you want to look it up, you cannot put any kind of SH bleach. Nothing can touch it.
And it was a small, little, inexpensive house, right?
Yeah, everything but the gutters.
It was big. It was a big house, and we ruined a lot of gutters.
Yeah. And this person was like, we're excited. We just got this massive job. It's like a ghostwriter, writes books. Like we're a realtor ended up getting us into this person's house. They have 2 different houses, a guest house, a pool, and a big old massive house. And it's like, we get to clean this place. Let's bring the drone out. Let's make this big. And we end up completely ruining the galvanized gutters, and the cost that cost us was a relationship. And it was, well, I mean, to me, that's bigger than the fact that we made no money and then ended up, having to eat that job.
Yeah. And then no future money too. Cause like part of winning the relationship is like, hey, if that happens, I mean, maybe you can win it in such a way that you get another chance. Like that's the way we view things. That was an expensive
All right.
lesson.
Okay. And just to kind of like, save face a little bit. A wise man once said, you learn more from your failures than your wins. And so learning that early on is going to not only help us prevent that in the future, which we haven't really made any huge damages as it relates to that after that. And we can also help you not make those same mistakes.
Well, go ahead.
Shortly after, our soap system wasn't always dialed in. So we ended up.
Yeah. We're learning.
So long story short, when you have a mentor, you have someone that has the knowledge and experience. And if you can call that person, if you can shoot them a video, trying to post it on a Facebook forum and say, hey guys, here's a problem. How would you face this? You'll get 450
and they're all jokes.
And they're jokes calling you loser, get out of the business. A mentor is going to be like, hey, I've seen that. Stay away. This is what you get. This is how you do it. This is how you bid it. It should have been something we covered at the very beginning, but I was doing estimates back then. We didn't know what we didn't know, but now we have the experience, and having a mentor helps you with that. Also, personal growth and development. We don't think about this a whole lot, but growing a pressure washing company is not just about cleaning a house. It's also being a learner, learning how to grow professionally and develop oneself so you can go up as you go up, because you're the leadership lid. You're only going to get so high until you end up inviting others who've been or know things you don't know to teach you the things you don't know so you can go where you never thought was possible. We had no clue where we'd be at today, and we could list off probably 10 different individuals that have come into the business and help us understand things that we never knew. And now that we have the experience, we can offer that experience to others.
Do any of you guys out there have a galvanized gutter story? It doesn't have to be galvanized gutters, but I'm curious, have you guys experienced anything like that, like we've experienced, where we would call that life education tuition? You're learning, you're paying the tuition for on-the-job training. Have you guys had any experiences that have been like that, where you've, one, lost a lot of money and then probably a lot of pride with the relationship? Please drop that in there, because I'm curious if we're the only ones.
No, I guarantee it. And
There's no way we are.
If you have any videos or anything like that, or pictures, please drop it. I probably still have pictures and videos. And when we talk about this, I'm still bothered by it. And how many years ago did you say that was, Josiah?
Probably 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago. And today I still look back at it and I cringe at the relationship loss that they experienced. And now I'm thinking, every time they see a Browns truck, they're reminded of these losers who jacked up their gutters, man. And so that bothers me. And when it happened, it took all of my time, all of my energy. I'm thinking one thing: how can we solve this person's problem? And we reached out to every single chemical supplier, every single gutter manufacturer to say, what can we do to make this thing right? We're thinking lawsuit.
Yeah.
And so anyway, having someone that's inside your life can prevent you from those realities of bad things happening on the job. Also, another thing to think about is networking opportunities. Often,
I love that. No one thinks about that. That's super good.
Yeah, when you have a mentor inside your life, all of a sudden he can introduce you to
relationship currency.
He can introduce you to his who's. And so if we're cleaning X, and we'll keep it off here just to maintain relationships, but if we're cleaning certain commercial properties and then they have chains in different cities and different locations, and then you have a mentor that says, hey, I'm in, let's say, Lynchburg, Virginia, and we're like, hey, we know actually the guy who owns blah, blah, blah. Now you all of a sudden have quicker opportunity to expand and to grow. And so the benefit of networking is massive. And also emotional support. You know, when you don't think about this.
That's good. Yeah, no, that's good.
But you don't think about it until you're sitting on the floor crying because of the stress and the weight of owning a business.
So
emotional damage.
Early years, I would call my mentor in July, end of July, and we would be woeing with each other with our phones not rolling. And it's like, we just got done being busy, and we're like, where's the leads at? Why are our phones not running, blowing up? What do we have to do? And having somebody that can say, hey, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm going through, I've got to talk about this right now. I'm going to share right now what I'm going through as a result to me drinking flat whites. This is good. Okay.
Is it talking too much?
No, it's not.
Listen, this is reality.
I normally drink almond milk and have not had cow's milk in probably since 2017. I've started to drink flat whites and they are delicious. Delicioso. But I was chatting with a friend of mine. I'm at CrossFit this morning, Hendersonville area. And he tells me what he doesn't drink. He's 60.
Okay.
He's in incredible shape.
Okay.
I'm like, hey, what do you eat? What's your
60-year-old doing CrossFit?
Yeah.
Dude,
out of the ordinary.
Absolute beast. And he says, I don't do cow's milk. I said, why? He says, because it brings phlegm inside of my throat. And I go to do a barbell press. And while I'm chatting, literally phlegm comes up inside of my throat. And, I don't spit it because I'm on the inside, so I have to swallow it. But now I'm like, I'm choking, chatting inside of this, and it's because of the cow's milk that I've been drinking. If you're experiencing phlegm,
stop drinking flat whites.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to get some other type of milk because they're so delicious. But hey, do y'all ever have problems with certain types of food as far as like certain?
Dude, I only have problems with most foods. I'm abnormal in that area, and I'm not eating tremendously awful either. I wouldn't say I'm as dialed in as some people at the table, but I'm not eating tremendously awful.
Yeah. So guess what Frank did for me this morning? He was the 60-year-old I was working out with, who used to run marathons and super great shape. He mentored me this morning. He pointed out that the phlegm inside of his past was directly related to him having cow's milk. And the last week I have been making flat whites at the house. I've been just
Let's go.
tearing it up. I mean, I got grass fed, organic, like good cow's milk.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And still creating
Huh.
that allergic reaction. And so having a mentor in your life helps
Yeah.
you also identify things that you didn't know. So emotional support.
Mm.
When you go through a difficult time in your business, to have someone say, hey, I've gone through that as well, it lifts the spirit. You are not just a physical being. You are also an emotional being. You're a
Mhm.
spiritual being. You have relationships, and all of these things play a role in you growing your business. And trying to grow it without somebody inside your life can end up creating problems that you didn't know in the midst of those problems that were actually problems. You just thought, I must have a cold. I must have phlegm down my throat. But
Yeah.
reality, there was something I was doing that created that.
And while we're waiting for people to comment down below, it sounds like experience is something that you want to find inside of a mentor or a coach. What are some other characteristics that you would look for if you were trying to identify, okay, is this person a good coach to listen to?
Yeah. And so this question right here is like, if you really think you need a mentor, which I would say who doesn't need a dad? Who doesn't need a coach? Who doesn't need someone to support them and encourage them? Well, how do you find the right person to be your mentor? And I'd say first start with this: identify your goals. Where are you trying to go inside your company, inside your business, inside of your life, not just professionally, but also personally? What are the goals that you're striving for inside of your business? Once you've identified your goals, you then can identify the mentor, because you want to make sure the mentor has achieved the goals that you desire to have. And so for me, I don't want to surround myself with folks that are vile or angry or quick-tempered or make me feel like crap. I am more likely to never spend time with somebody if they end up chewing me out and make me feel like trash. I'm like, that's a relationship breaker. I'm done.
Yeah.
And so you want to make sure that you're not, just because someone's successful on YouTube or on Facebook, and you want to kind of look at their profile and be like, hey, is this dude trash, or are they someone that I can actually look up to and be an honorable man or an honorable father or an honorable husband? Those personal goals are bigger than your professional goals.
Yeah.
And knowing where you want to go. Am I talking too much?
No,
that's
it's all good.
Sorry.
I think it's all good. I
had-
see this one. I think you should drop that point of another reason to have a mentor there.
Yeah, just accelerated learning. You can learn so much faster. If you're a baseball player, you know, if you've got a young kid that picks up a bad habit inside of his swing or inside of moving his hips around, he's going to develop bad habits that's going to come to hurt him. I mean, Tiger Woods, phenomenal, but ends up creating all this torque and issues, and he has to fix his swing in the future for the longevity of his career. So having a mentor and a coach can help you accelerate and then stabilize in the future, where you're built for last. And one of the quotes that I like to use for running is, if you want to go, let's see if either one of you guys can get this. If you want to go fast,
You run alone.
Go
you want
alone.
to go further, run together.
yeah. So there you go. And so if you want to go fast in life, go by yourself. Don't tell your wife about it. Just make the decision.
I think you could add something to that. If you want to go fast and then cap out, run alone.
Yeah.
Because there's only so much you can manage alone. And to me, the reality is, why wouldn't you want to do it with somebody?
Yeah.
Why would you want to experience the galvanized gutters when you can go to people who've experienced the galvanized gutters? It's like a no-brainer.
Yeah. And I enjoy making memories. And so if your why is to enjoy and make memories along the way, why not do it with others instead of by yourself? You're more likely to go further inside of this life and make more memories as a result.
Yeah, that's so good. The mentor, the coach that we're talking about, could also be considered like a guide. And so, like, if you look at a story, there's always the hero, the villain, the victim. Is there a third one? And the guide, right? So if you see a story, that's the storyline. And you as a business owner are the guide to your customers as well. And so, Brady, this question's for you. How does making the customer the hero and you the guide, how does that play into sales? What does that look like? How do you present yourself as the coach, the guide to the customer as it relates to sales?
So I would say that the benefit is long-term relationships. It's more than one job. So making the customer the hero of the story it decreases the person who's doing the selling and increases the value of the person who's needing a solution. So you affirm and legitimize the issues that they're running into, which just decreases, one, the quantity of time that you're speaking. And so I'd say to start as an applicable action of making your customer the hero of the story is just talk less. And for sure, talk less about other companies. I think a lot of times salesmen get out on site and they want to boast or brag about X amount of reviews, X amount of work that they have done, and how much or how little work other companies have done, and really will put a point of attack on why they need to be using them because everybody else stinks on ice. When really, if you just listen to the customer, they'll identify the problem that you have the solution to if you just let them speak. It gives them a lot of comfort knowing that there's not a real salesman there, because salesmen have a stench. People can smell it from a mile away.
Yeah, that's that's so good. They really can.
Yeah. You like that?
You don't smell a bit. You don't smell at all. You smell nice.
It's not a good cologne to have. Wesley Jack says, hello, my friends. Who are the best mentors for my eyes, dude.
Hey,
For a pressure washing business.
I got bifocals.
Hey, my bifocals are coming in this week. Next week, you guys will see me with glasses on.
Y'all are old.
I hope they're thick.
They're not.
I want to be
Super
like
thick.
Goodfellas. Goodfellas thick. Robert De Niro style.
Yeah. No, they're not Coke bottle, glasses. No.
So what did Wesley say?
says, hello, friends. Who are the best mentors for a fresh washing business?
Hey,
I don't know.
no, seriously. It's
Great question.
Yeah, it is a great question. And to start with, Wesley, if you just jumped on, you want to find you first want to identify your goals.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you know your goals, find people with similar goals, and then make an ask of them to end up mentoring them. And there's a little bit of rules inside of this engagement. If you find let's say you're single, if you saw like an attractive young lady, you don't just run up and say, will you marry me? Now you could, but it's a little forward.
Sure.
And
You got to be strategic.
And girls that are nice looking, they probably get guys all the time doing that. So you got to have
Be different. What's the business separator?
So you have to be a little bit different than all the other dudes that are trying to approach and get this person as being a mentor, because great people are only going to work, Wesley, with great people. And so you have to show that you're interested in them, and then that you're willing to listen and learn to whatever they have to say. The last thing I want to do with my time is to fill up someone's cup that's just going to throw out what has been filled up in. I want to be able to fill someone's cup in that then is going to take that and fill somebody else's cup
That's
with.
good. I think collaboration is good too. So like when we're all three sitting here, I think it's better than one person. And with collaboration, I would say, depends on the situation, but I would say furthermore than identifying your own visions and the essence of yourself, you can also look for, is there a person that has things that I have not attained yet? And not just like because that would be a goal, but like things that surprise you of like, hey, I didn't think, about that, but wow, that looks good. I feel like I could desire to be like this person. So like, not just things that you already have in your mind that you want to attain, but things that are different than that. Like who has things you desire that you didn't even think about?
Yeah. So chemistry is a big deal as well. So I would throw in the fact that, Wesley, one thing you're wanting to look for in a mentor is someone that you feel like you can jive with. Yeah. We've all had a phone call that was just super awkward. We're like, not ever again. And so you're like, I'd rather not even win this job.
Yeah.
It's too weird. It's too odd. Well, make sure that the person that you're wanting to be mentored by ain't weird. And if it's weird, it might be you, might be them, but better off leave it at the curb. Don't pick it up. Don't get inside that relationship.
Yeah.
And so make sure that's there.
One of my favorite tactics that I use when I want to manipulate someone into mentoring me is I say, hey man, I want to hear your story. I want to buy you a cup of coffee. I want to hear your story. And I think that does a couple of things. I think that it communicates to the mentor that this is not someone who is all about just getting from the relationship, but it's like, I want to learn about who you are as a person, not just what you can give me.
You're placing him or them as the hero of the story in this scenario, man.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
And we want to be fat, We want to be faithful, available, and teachable. Those are the three things that a lot of people want to look for inside of someone to disciple. Because like what you're saying, I don't want to disciple someone who's just going to listen to what I'm saying and not do it.
I'd rather tell myself those things.
I'd rather save my breath and say, good luck figuring it out.
Yeah.
Find someone else.
Yeah, one thing I would want, and we're talking about this victim, listen to the phlegm in my voice.
And that doggone cow's milk.
It's shooting me in the face.
Sorry, and maybe in the clip you can shoot it out. But we're talking about this story brand with Donald Miller. If you haven't listened to the book or read the book, Story Brand, this victim, villain, hero, and guide is basically an outline of how to position yourself as the guide, your customer as a hero, and be sure not to be a victim or a villain inside the story. And a mentor can help you understand whether or not the story that you're writing is from the position of you being a victim, you villainizing everybody else. And this is one thing I would ask that every pressure washing company stops doing. And we've actually had folks do this for us. And so one thing I'd ask that all of our pressure washing friends would do is no longer put down another company, regardless of their character or their competencies or what they've done. We've had people tell our customers, oh, don't hire Brown's pressure washing. They end up taking advantage. They end up doing a crappy job.
They're just a big company or whatever.
They're not going to give you personal relationship. And it's like, why would you villainize another company who's doing something good? And it actually puts you as a victim. That person's the victim.
Yeah,
So
correct.
you poor little pressure washing company that has to villainize another company for growing. And the reason they're growing is because they're doing something right. Instead of making that person look bad, don't even bring them up into the conversation. Just sell your product, hear your story, but quit putting down other people inside the industry.
Present yourself as the guide.
Yeah, and I think there's strategic ways to say those things without what I like to call is like, that's a baby brain move. Baby brain is like, you can clearly point out that, and I don't think we're a big business. I think we're still a small business, but in the area, in the pond we're in, we're probably one of the bigger fish. And I think a baby brain move is to point that out and say, well, hey, I'm just still a local guy and I'm a da-da-da-da-da. But you can say those things in a strategic manner that communicate what you want to communicate with body language and tonality without ever having to say the words. And that's a big brain move. And so don't be a baby brain. Like, use your big brain, strategically think about how can I win this against X other company. And one thing I'll say that has always honored me, and I'll never forget it, I was on a bid and 3 other companies had bid on it. And this was like really sweet. It made my heart like actually feel good for the network that we're in. But all 3 of the other companies said, you should really call Brown's. Like, honestly, because a big crane had blown up and put hydraulic fluid all over this guy's house. But they were like, I don't know what to do. You need to call Brown's. And that was like, it spoke volumes to our pond.
Thank you.
That we'd earned some respect inside of that.
It makes you want to be more edifying to other companies
For
when
sure.
it comes your way.
Yeah, and those that are watching our podcast YouTube video, thank you. Chances are you're not the ones that are putting down other pressure washing companies. You're probably the ones that are edifying, lifting others up. And I feel like customers appreciate when you take care of them. And so know what you can say yes to, and which I don't know if we know what to say no to sometimes, but knowing what to say yes to and what to say no to.
That's probably my fault.
Helps you. Yeah, you sell it, I'll clean it.
That's it.
All right. So Josiah, a question for you. Let's say that you are starting your own pressure washing company, and it's time for you to learn a little bit more about equipment and maybe chemicals, because absolutely zero. How do you go about finding someone to maybe mentor you inside this area of chemicals and equipment?
Yeah, so this is super important to find someone in this position, and I'll explain why. The pressure washing market has rapidly been changing into more of a soft washing market, and the technology and chemicals are constantly updating and changing, and there's new procedures. That's why you post on your Facebook group and you have 300 different responses, is because what once worked here no longer works anymore because this is new and it's constantly changing. So you're going to want to find a who that is in a position to help guide you through all of those issues, and a good chemical or equipment distributor can help you do that. Mike at Absolute Chemical is our guy here in Nashville. He's been with us since the beginning, helped us through a lot of the galvanized gutters, like that was one of the guys that we called, and he's really helped us to go through a lot of issues. But when you go to find a guide inside of equipment and chemicals, just go ahead and gather a list of all the people in your area, and you're going to want to find someone with these five traits. One, they got to have the supplies you need. That's like obviously no brainer. They're going to have the chemicals that you use, sodium hypochlorite.
That's good.
And be able to provide it and keep it in stock. There's so many guys out there that can't keep chemicals in stock, and it ends up affecting your business.
Yeah, let me pause you there. Some of the problems of finding someone that's a chemical guy that you may even like and enjoy and want to help them out, and it's married to your sister, and it's like you got to use John, but it's like John doesn't have what you need. And I think, realized this when we had a certain chemical that worked really well, removing, was it the rust stains? What's the one that we ended up getting from Power Wash Store? Because they had a chemical that Mike didn't have.
One Restore.
Restore.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start, date several, maybe go around your whole community, even if you have to drive an extra 30 minutes to get to a different chemical guy. There are chemicals out there that ends up making a job 10 times easier as a result. And some of the chemicals require I'm not taking any of your stuff, but some of your chemicals, I hope I'm not, some of your chemicals require a license to buy it and to sell it, and it's expensive. So some guys like John, who your sister's married to, he didn't purchase the right to sell this product. And so now you need to find somebody that has the permission to sell it. And so completely agree with that.
Yeah. So chemicals is one. Two is obviously parts. You're going to want them to have all the parts on hand that you have on your truck. And so if something breaks, you can swing by immediately and go get an extra part if you don't have it in stock at your own place. The third one is they got to be close to you. If you're driving an hour away to fill up on chemicals each morning because you're new and you don't have a good system set up, they got to be close. And then 4 is experience. Experience is a word that we've used all throughout this mastermind. And it's because you want to be able to call and say, hey, what the heck is going on with this chemical? Like, this is not working. And they're going to want to just be able to slow down and just be patient with you. You don't want someone who's like, just read the label, just
read
the
so
instructions.
good. That would really...
No, it's like, hey, totally understand. This is what you're experiencing. So someone who'll slow down, has experience. And then number 5, this is just a bonus, but if they also work on equipment, so if they repair small engines, then that's just another who that you don't have to find later on when an engine goes out.
I think a lot of times business owners have a tendency to think that when we're talking about relationships being the currency of life, that business owners have a tendency to think that means like, okay, customers, I need to gain as currency. Relationships, need to gain as many customers as I can. And the amount of relationship currency that our business has built up with Mike Taylor at Absolute Chemical, it's like insurmountable. That guy will answer the phone at any minute, and he will drop what he's doing, and he will do whatever he can, because it really is not just about the amount of business that we bring him. It's because he loves us. And we have earned the permission and invested so much relationship currency in them that the extra mile, that's like an understatement. Those guys are like creating things for us.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. So I would say, try not to be limited in your mind when you hear us say that relationships are the currency of life. That goes way past the customer on into your spouse, your girlfriend, your friends, your parents, whatever situation. You want to look at everybody as, how much can I invest in this relationship so that we can invest in each other? And like, we've done that with Mike Taylor. Mike Taylor's done that with us. It's a beautiful relationship.
Yeah.
We also started there. So for full disclosure, we started there. Sure. If I would have started at another location, it's possible we would have a similar experience. And so in Nashville, there may be maybe 3 or 4 different places that we could choose to go to now. When we started, we didn't have multiple choices. It was, like maybe, well, 2 is a multiple, but I felt like there was only one guy to really choose from.
Yeah.
And it was Mike. And so if you have somebody that you've built a relationship with, before you cut them off, or maybe that's a good question, is how do you know when it's time to cut a relationship and get a new relationship? What would be some of the things that you would say there, Josiah?
I would say what's important is before you cut them, give them an opportunity to come alongside you instead of, because you don't want a relationship that's holding you back or dragging you down. We all have had relationships of like that, and it's terrible. And so before you do that, give them an opportunity to catch up or join you. If they choose not to, then that could be a good opportunity for you to continue looking in other areas for another relationship.
I would say if you're watching this live right now with us, or even if you're watching it back, we have a video on our YouTube channel where we went into Absolute Chemical. Mike broke a lot of stuff down. So if you're brand new and you're just starting out trying to figure out, hey, where what chemical supplier, who knew I even needed that? We've got some videos that you should go back in our backlog and watch those, and you can really see the personality of Mike Taylor and his team and coming through that video. They're a beautiful type of people over there. But if you're just needing some general knowledge and like wondering, go through those videos, check them out. Definitely a great video. Maybe we can get one of the guys to drop a video link inside the comment thread to prime you guys.
So let's go ahead and set up next week's episode. It's going to be July 3rd, and we're going to be with our company. What we do the first Monday of every month, we go to a local coffee shop. This one just so happens to have a pickleball court, and so we'll play a little bit of games. And that day, we're going to be talking a little bit about finances and preparing with 401k and contributions. And so I want to go ahead and prime it a little bit. What we'll talk about, or at least what I'll talk about, and this is an insight of this, is that when is it time to start utilizing your business to be able to set up 401k matching bonuses, which is something that we do, and maybe even give a little bit more so our guys can be long-term team members. And so next week, we'll talk a little bit about how to set up your company to benefit guys that are like, man, I love you guys. I want to be here forever. Are you going to be able to take care of me as I get older and have kids and so forth? So we'll talk about the finances of how we set that up. We'll go ahead and talk about commission-based pay, if that's all right.
I think that's great.
Yeah, so performance-based pay versus hourly. So next week, we invite you to take part in our mastermind. It takes place what time?
9 a.m.
Yep, Central Standard Time, and we'd love for you to be there. We'd love for you to ask any questions that you'd like to see on that show. So if you're watching this later on the week, we do this at 9, which most pressure washing companies are going to be working right now. If you're watching this at a different date or time, I would like to invite you to ask what questions that you have as far as pay or finances or retirement plans, or maybe even get into insurance a little bit inside of that as well. So
man, Shots Everlasting late again. Good grief. And we just said, just so you know, 9 a.m. Well, that's our time here in Tennessee. I'm just messing with you, man. It's good to see you again. Thanks for jumping in. Better late than never. You can always watch this back too, but be sure to join us next week. If you're not subscribed, I'm going to let you keep going in just a minute. If you're not subscribed, please hit subscribe. Helps us out, helps you out. And hit the notification bell to be notified when we go live. Shots Everlasting. I can tell you don't have that little bell icon clicked. I think you might want to click that right now if you can. But next week we'll be going over some pretty cool stuff. Oh, he said I did get the notification, but no notifications. Either way, we're just glad you're here, man. So
hey,
yeah,
let me tell you why you want to go back, Shots. We have just got done talking about the power of a mentor and the consequences and the what's the opposite of consequences?
The pros and cons.
Yeah.
What are the pros and cons? This is a great episode for pros and cons of mentorship.
Yeah.
Excellent episode.
How to find a mentor, how to invite them into helping out you grow your business, but how to be the right person to end up finding the right person. All of it is almost like a relationship almost. And
I do have a quick question for you. If people were interested in talking more with us, maybe, what could they do to do that?
Yeah. So right now, in like 2 to 3 months, I'm going to go ahead and drop it. No, I'm not.
Should we drop it?
We
Yeah,
should.
we can drop it again.
So in
All right,
2 or
we'll drop
3, in the future, in 2 or 3 months, we're going to have a complete overhaul on our pressurewashingpastor.com. Right now, it is super easy to get a one-on-one conversation with myself. So if you go to pressurewashingpastor.com, there's a little talk with me button, and you can schedule a one-on-one conversation. It is very easy. When the update happens, we're going to end up having a qualification form. You'll end up meeting with our admin, Eli, and he's going to qualify the conversations, because we believe there's going to be a lot of future conversations, and we have to get ready for the infrastructure of what's about to come. And so we're super thankful that you've tuned in. If you would like to find out more, we really are interested in looking for, I'm talking a lot.
That's okay. He said he's debating a mentor, so that's perfect. And I would say just hang around a little bit. And honestly, a lot of value is being given in these weeks. A lot of the hardships that we've learned through, and that's really what mentoring.
Utilize this Monday morning.
Utilize it as a tool for sure. And I know you're out there washing. I'm sure we're just in your ears right now, which is super funny. But any questions you have, and we'll be looking through the videos, through the normal week, through the shorts, through the longs that we post for questions that we can maybe address in some of these too. So we're not always just, talking.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. And until next time, peace.